Let us look at the core areas of African manhood. African men are warriors by nature. They should be out in the community protecting it. We don't need the police to arrest the drug dealers and muggers in our townships because we all know the boys that are responsible. African men should not spend too much time in their homes because their impact should only be felt by the entire community. The presence of African men within their community makes a huge difference. It is the African man that is endowed with the capacity and equipped with the capabilities to effectively engage and deal with the African boys. Therefore, when African men don't show up, it makes themselves within their community, African boys feel let down. African boys are hurting and yearning for us men. They require us men to help with their internal healing, not just any man, but a true African man. Our boys' veins are surging with testosterone, and there's very few of us to provide guidance and grounding. So we'll go through the core areas of African manhood. Number one is sexuality. African manhood is heterosexual. There is no such thing as homosexual, bisexual, transsexual, or pedophilic African man. You can be a confused African male, but not an African man. Let us not confuse these two as we currently do in South Africa. The former is unclear about his sexuality, while the latter is crystal clear. The natural complement for an African man is an African woman. She completes him in every possible way. She cultivates his emotion, balances his psychology, taps into his spirit, manages his economics, manages his ideology, and brings out the best in him. African manhood is refined through healthy relationship with the African woman. Only African womanhood can challenge African manhood in the necessary way to enhance African manhood. Number two is fatherhood. African manhood is synonymous with African fatherhood. The concept of father for African people extends beyond biology. An African father is a father to all the African children. It is his spiritual duty to treat every African child as his own, and his cultural duty to work in concert with their biological parents to protect, provide, develop, and cultivate all the children. Every African man is responsible for every African child. It is every African man's responsibility to bring out the best in every African child and maximize their potential. Brotherhood is number three. Traditionally, African men belong to a society of African men that we call the Brotherhood. It was organized with the sole intent and purpose to build character, forge social maturity, foster psychological stability, and facilitate spiritual awareness. There is a tremendous value in such a process. Even more reason why every African man must belong to a brotherhood. And I do not mean drinking buddies. A brotherhood is a support system organized to offer and lend one another moral, emotional, and financial support. It is an act of therapeutic bonding. This is where men honor and hold each other accountable. Number four is spirituality. Traditionally, African men were spiritual, conducting themselves in a state of truth and honesty. Their self-worth, self-esteem, self-respect was found in knowing the identity that was birthed in their spirituality. Number five is physical fitness. An African man must be physically fit. He must always be in shape because the world we live in, we're constantly in battle. An African man is a warrior, and never ever should he be out of shape and obese. Allowing his body to be inhabited by fat is totally unacceptable. Mental and physical fitness must be part of his daily ritual and regimen. An African man understands the importance of health and fitness. Proper rest, adequate healthy nutrition, and strenuous exercise is his daily prayer. An African man is always under attack from many different sources and must be battle ready always. Number six is warriorhood. An African man is automatically a born warrior. Part of the African rite of passage from boyhood to manhood has warriorhood as part of the obstacle to be conquered. Nobody becomes a warrior by chance. You have inculcated into this fierce mode. Warriorhood is achieved by overcoming obstacles that can take your life. The Maasai's rite of passage used to involve killing a lion with your bare hands, and sometimes the lion did the killing. How are we going to protect our families, protect our communities and our countries if we and men are not standing guard? Do your part and be the African warrior we can all be proud of. Start by dropping that liquor, brother. Throw away that nicotine-filled sticks, brother. Walk away from KFC and McDonald's, brother. Start attending your children's PTA, brothers. Pull your pants up and stop exposing your behind. Stop listening to music or supporting artists that call our women with a B word. Just do your part. In conclusion, African manhood is tied to the ultimate African sovereignty. African men are the natural protectors and defenders of the African way of life. The calling for the 21st century African manhood is the total liberation of the African mind. To be an African mind simply means working in the interests of the African people. It means fighting against any domination or exploitation of Africans by any other race or even by our own people in power. An African man, a real African man, must be threatening. He must be somebody that sends a clear message to whoever is around him that if you mess with me, if you mess with my family, and if you try to take what is rightly mine, you stand to lose your own life.